What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Turbo Garage. Today we're going to be working on the 300ZX. Last time you guys saw this car, it was on the dyno and it had just been tuned. It's pretty much the exact same since then. It's really just been sitting here. The only real difference being some stock wheels which have been put on for a bit of a change. There are a few things on the car I'm not happy with, so let's take a look at those and see what we're fixing. So up here, I've made a bit of a list of all the things that I'm really not happy with, or just things that I want to get sorted on the car anyway. And today we're going to be focusing on power steering because it's giving me the shits. And we're going to replace the tension rods while we're there because we're going to be under the car anyway, and they're pretty quick and easy to do. Now you'll see here steering rack has a few question marks. We won't really know if that's actually buggered until we've sorted out the power steering. So once we get the power steering in and the tension rods in, we'll see how the steering rack is. But until then, let's just get straight into it. Now to get started, we're going to have to jack the car up so we can disconnect the power steering lines from the steering rack. So let's get it up in the air. Alright, so the car's up in the air. The next step is I'm going to start removing these pipes here, the intake and intercooler piping, to give us more access through here from the reservoir to the pump, which is just down in there. I'm also going to remove the radiator shroud. I think from memory it gets in the way. You know what, I'll try leave it in for now, and if it gets in the way I'll remove it. But yeah, other than that, piping off, and then we can start taking off the power steering components. Alright, so I'm looking at the power steering pump just down in here now. I've got the intake piping off and the intercooler piping. I think it might be a bit easier if we remove this radiator fan shroud. I think it's going to give us a bit more access down this way to get to the front of the pump and the tensioner for the belt. So I'm going to take that off now, and then we can start disconnecting stuff. So here's our pump just in here. You can see that. The camera wants to focus. Beautiful. So we've got a pump there. We've got to remove that. There is a line on the top of it here. Mine's been replaced with an AN line. That goes to our power steering rack. Then here we've got our reservoir. So we've just got to get all of this out. So let's give it a crack. Now I'm just disconnecting all the lines from both the pump and the reservoir to try and make this a bit easier and reduce the amount of stuff I'm trying to squeeze out of this small hole here in the engine bay. Otherwise, I think I'm going to be ripping half of my engine apart just to do power steering, which does not interest me in the slightest. This fitting here adapts the factory power steering pump to run an AN fitting. Pretty cool. That was bullshit. Oh, that was horrible. Oh, it just leaked all over me. All over my sock. That was way too hard. I would have been done on a Subaru about 25 minutes ago. So we have hit our first snag. Yeah, so this is our adapter fitting that adapts the pump from factory thread to the AN fitting for our custom braided line for pump to steering rack, and it has, well, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm still going to go ahead and get everything set up I just won't be able to put the rest of the car back together today, because I'll need to somehow get one of those. Hopefully I can get one tomorrow, I don't know. But yep, bit of an update. All right, now before I go through the pain of installing the new one, let's have a look at them side by side. So we have our TT power steering pump here. You can just see how much extra this one has for the Hiker system in the rear compared to the NA one, which has fucking just about none of it, really. So the main differences are obviously the size and just the simplicity of this one. It has nowhere near as many lines as the big, ugly, leaking TT pump does. Now, why am I swapping? The pump's doing nothing. I have no power steering and I don't have Hiker, so I figured I may as well put in the simpler NA pump. I have parted out a couple of Zeds recently, so I'm fortunate enough to have a few spares right now, which are going to be making their way onto the car soon. But yeah, anyway, let's just throw this one on. We won't be able to get it running today because we don't have the fitting, but I'm going to try to pick one up tomorrow. And I'm not sure if that'll be in this video or not. It might just be a video of installing this and the tension rod to it. Let's do it. So it was at this point that I realized the bracket itself is also different, because Nissan thought, why not? Let's change that too. So the pump isn't going on today, which is just great. It feels like a bit of a waste of time what I've done. So I'm gonna need to find a bracket and a power steering, that fitting that broke before this can even go on. So yeah, a bit of a waste of time, but what else can you do? I'm gonna throw the tension rods in. You know what, actually, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna do that when I come back because I can't be bothered now. This is just not going well at all. But all right, I'll see you guys another day. We'll continue this video. All right, everyone, so we're back here again with the Zed. I've had a bit of success finding some parts. Here is our broken AN adapter for the power steering. I managed to pick up this one here. It's steel this time, so it's a bit stronger. I picked that one up from Pertec. It was about $18. And the other part is a NA power steering pump bracket. So this is the TT one here. This is the NA one. You can see the differences in the mounting part here for the pump. I didn't realize they were different. A quick Google probably would have taught me that. But for anyone wanting to convert their TTZ to NA power steering, this is the correct bracket you need. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on the car now, and then we can get the pump in. All right, so you can see in here, bit of a wonky angle, but the new bracket for the NA pump is now on. So now I'm gonna try to lift that NA pump in and mount it. Fingers crossed, we don't have any issues. I think it'll be fine. There's not really anything else that can go wrong at this point. I should not have said that. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So, day 3. That's right, it is day 3 of changing a power steering pump. I don't know how I got here. You may be thinking to yourself, Jackson, how has it taken you 3 days to change a power steering pump? And the answer I would have for you is, I don't know. The only explanation or excuse I have is that the car is in storage, so if something doesn't go wrong, it's a day lost essentially. Oh, sorry, if something doesn't go right, it's a day lost essentially. Because you have to travel. It's not close to home, it's about 40 minutes away, but still, every day something has gone wrong. On the first day, the bracket was wrong and the adapter fitting broke for the power steering line. On the second day, we got both of those two components correct, but the bolt to mount the power steering pump was wrong. So I've since gone home, I've gone through my bucket of bolts. Believe it or not, the first bolt I found was the correct bolt. That's in there now. And now we just have to do the rest. Plumb it all up. I really hope this part goes well. So now that the pump is mounted with this main bolt here, I've gone ahead and thrown the tensioner on. which you can kind of see just behind the belt here, and obviously the belt. So now I'm going to tighten up that tensioner so the belt's on, and then once that's all tight and everything's in position, we can mount the reservoir, put these pipes back on, start the car and bleed the power steering system. Alright, so we've got the power steering pump in, that is all done. To bleed it, what I did was I had the car idling and I just steered this full lock side to side as many times as I could. Proven method, works well. If you do get stuck like I did, I removed this top line here to try and push out as much air as I could just to get that all sorted. I will button this up another time as I'm kind of on a bit of a time crunch here, but I'm going to throw in these tension rods real quick just to call it as a job done. So let's throw those in. Not really much to it, it's just these two back nuts here and then your main bolt through the side, so I won't bother really filming that. They're just located under the car. You can see one bolt there, and then behind the wheel is our other two nuts. I'll throw those in, I'll show you guys what they look like. Alright, that's one in. Alright, so I've got both the new tie rods in. Here are the old ones. You can see these bushes, they're quite worn. I think they might have been causing a bit of the steering wheel vibration I've had, but I'm glad I got those swapped over. And I think that just about does it for today. So although it took a while, we did eventually successfully convert the car from a TT power steering setup to an NA one. The main benefit is deleting hikers and all the shit that sits here. We have also removed the worn out 30-year-old tire ends and replaced those with some factory tire ends with Nolithane bushes, so hopefully that gets sort of a bit of the steering wheel wobble. I'm going to piece all this together and put it back together whenever. I'm in no rush to do that, and it's probably pretty boring for you guys. But other than that, we've ticked off a couple of things over on the list here. We've ticked off power steering and tension rods. So hopefully in the next episode we can work on something like brakes or the NA rear end for this car. I'm not sure which one yet, and I'm not sure if this car will even be in the next episode. I kind of take it as I go. But I'd really appreciate it if you're new here that you subscribe so you can stick around and see more content. We are quite small and a new channel in general, so all subscribers are good. We appreciate you watching the video. It means a lot to me especially. And I really hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you.